everyone, I am İrem. Today I want to show you how I made this reversible tote bag. I have seen Railroad Tote shared by pearlsaha.com and I love its design. You can find a link for its tutorial in the description box. The tutorial was for a bag without a lining. In this video, I will show how to make it a reversible one. When it comes to the striped part, I decided to make my body pieces are cut with the stripes running vertically, while the pocket piece is cut with the stripes running horizontally. My fabric was at roughly 70 centimeters by 100 centimeters. I folded my fabric in half and pinned so that the lines matched and cut all my pieces. The body pieces are 43 centimeters wide by 48 centimeters tall. The seam allowance was 1 centimeter and the hem allowance 4 centimeter for the body piece, and it was 1.5 for the pocket ones. I cut the pocket piece a little longer than what was written in the tutorial so that I could adjust the lines to place on where I want. My piece was 41 centimeters by 18 centimeters. In the tutorial, the width is about 19 centimeters. I cut it 18 centimeters since my fabric wasn't enough. I was able to find this 2.5 centimeters width for the handle, and I had about 2 meters and 88 centimeters. I marked the middle of it with a pin and initially wrapped it around with a tape before cutting, otherwise it can easily unravel, and then cut 144 centimeter long pieces from this webbing. This is how we are going to place this. By the way, I will add a video that shows how the strips look like while I am wearing the bag. If you want a handle length that you can wear with a thick coat, for instance in winters, a total of 3 meters can be used. I also cut 2 pieces from a different fabric with the same measurements. My first thought was making a lining for the bag. However, I wanted to sew a reversible bag later. Hence, I will cut pockets for this side as well. I folded the edge of the pocket piece twice towards the wrong side and ironed. I edge stitched it down with a straight stitch. I didn't want to make a visible seam on this striped main fabric. Therefore, I just folded 4 centimeters once and pressed it. I placed my pocket piece in the middle of the main fabric with right sides facing up. I pinned the pocket around the 3 row sides of the pocket, leaving the top hemmed edge unpinned. I sewed these pinned sides with a zigzag stitch because I wanted to prevent my fabric from fraying with a zigzag stitch. To sew mitered corners, while your needle is still in the fabric, you can lift the presser foot and swivel your fabric and continue sewing. Now we can attach the handles too. I aligned one of the raw ends of my webbing with the bottom edge of the body piece. The left edge of the webbing is 11 centimeters from the left side of the body piece, and I pinned it all the way up the crease, hiding the pocket seam with webbing. After reaching the crease, I pinned the webbing down the right side of the fabric. Make sure distances between the left and right sides of the body piece and the webbing are equal. Also, you should be sure that you do not twist the handle while pinning the handle to one side and moving to the opposite side. I made straight stitches, and while sewing I measured it to check whether everything was okay. I sewed it up to the crease. I thought perhaps I could change the folding amount of the bag later. That's why I didn't sew while it was folded and I just sewed until the crease. I pinned the other handle to the same place on the back body piece. The only difference with the front piece is that I didn't put a pocket in this side. As for the other side, I used denim fabric. The weaving of this fabric is a twill pattern. The pattern moves diagonally, as you can see. I put an arrow to mark the fabric directions while cutting. When I cut the striped pocket piece, there was a leftover piece. I wanted to utilize it here. Then I decided to put it in the middle and cut another piece of denim fabric for the bottom part. I hemmed the body fabric by 4 centimeters on this side as well. The striped fabric for the pocket was 18 centimeters by 43 centimeters. I decided to cut denim fabric at 21 centimeters by 43 centimeters. Actually, I cut it wider than 43 centimeters since I couldn't decide on making box pleats on my pocket pieces on this side, but later on I decided to make regular pockets. I folded the edges of the pockets by half centimeter and then 1 centimeter and ironed them. You can also fold it while ironing like this. After folding it this way, I sewed a strike stitch on both. I marked the center of the fabrics and placed the striped piece right sides together. I'm going to sew it from here and open it like this. I sewed with this decorative stitch to prevent the fabric from fraying. Subsequent to opening it, I made a top stitch. Additionally, I made a straight stitch on the middle of this pocket piece to have 2 separate pockets. I also placed the denim piece that will be on the bottom and pinned the 3 raw edges. I sewed from here to here with a zigzag stitch. And cut off the excess fabric. I marked the middle of this piece as well. I drew a line with a tailor's chalk before sewing a strike stitch. I hemmed the top of the front and back pieces. I folded 4 centimeters once towards the wrong side and made strike stitches from 3 centimeters. I put front and back pieces right sides together and sew them from here to here. I did the same for the striped one while turning corners. I always leave the needle in the fabric and swivel it. After this step, you can turn it inside out and make a basic bag like this. However, I will create a boxed bottom like railroad tote tutorial. I opened this bottom part like this and created a triangle on the corner. I marked it 10 centimeters from 5 centimeters below the corner. Make sure that the seam on the bottom is in the middle of 10 centimeters. It was easier for me to draw with water erasable pen first and then attach with needles. I made the same step for the stripe side. This time I firstly created triangles on both sides and drew 10 centimeters long and pinned. Now it's time to sew this with stitch stitches. After I finished sewing, I turned inside out to see if the boxed part was the way I wanted. And as I liked the size of it, I cut it with 1 centimeter allowance. My solid color fabric is thicker, so I turned it inside out and placed the striped one inside of the solid one. There is just one step, which is attaching them together. Firstly, I pinned the side seams with each other and then started to pin the other parts as well. I pinned outer and inner parts while fabrics were evenly aligned. I need to sew from here now. If I had made a solid colored bag and the handles were the same color, I could have sewn all around it on the machine. But my bag has different colors. Since I think an invisible stitch looks clean and neat, I sewed it by hand. I threaded the needle and made a knot. Firstly, I hid this knot between two fabrics. Then I inserted the needle inside of one side and made a short stitch. In the front part, I sewed all the white and red lines by inserting in between them without inserting in the stripes to be sure that my stitches would not be visible from the any sides of my bag. If I sew it again, I may make it 4 or 5 centimeters wider than this model because I prefer white bags usually, so you can consider this if you are like me. If you make a reversible bag after watching this video, please share a photo with me on Instagram. If you are not already, make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications, that way you don't miss any videos I post. See you in the next video.